Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectMeWithTiffany. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and guess what? I didn't feel like recording this episode today, or any day this week for that matter. And you guys know this is something near and dear to my heart, and I love podcasting. I love teaching all of you guys. I love helping guide you in all the things. But sometimes in life and business, even the very things we love or we're inspired by or we dream of, we just don't feel like it. Can I get a raise of hands from all of you moms out there? You love your damn kids, but sometimes you just want to poop in peace. Hashtag poop in peace. Let's start a movement, people. That was a really good pun, actually. So unintended. Even though we love stuff or we have a goal or something so badly that we want for ourselves, our family, our future, all that, we're not going to always be inspired, motivated, or feel like it. And what I find that is the really not good place to get stuck in, but many of you are stuck in it. I've been stuck in it before too, is this goal shame cycle. This is what I call it. So tell me if this sounds familiar, if this resonates with you. So you so badly want to have maybe your own thriving business or a side hustle. You so badly want to take your business to the next level, whatever it is. Okay. Insert goal. You want to make massive cash, doing what you love to do, help thousands, millions of people. And you have that feeling inside of you. And you can delete all this and replace it with a personal goal. Maybe it is your health, your fitness. It could be you want to travel more. It could be you want to learn a language. It could be personal development. But I'm going to use business because, that's my jam. So you want to have this thriving business. You really want to take it to the next level. You want to be making, the kind of cash that I bring in. You want to have passive income streams so you can have that freedom. You don't have to even think about taking, if you can take a vacation or how many. You can just take the damn thing and you don't have to search for hours and hours for deals. Although I will say I am the travel master. And I'm really the master of airline travel. I only fly business and first class. If they're short flights, I will fly coach. I'm not above Southwest Airlines. However, when I say that to people, they're like, well, that must be nice. Yeah, it is fucking nice. And guess what? Even before I made the kind of money that would warrant, being able to buy a ticket that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars more, there's always a way. I'm a points whore. I've said it. I'm a points whore. I have several credit cards I use for my business, and I collect points. I've bought points off other people. There is always a way. So just had to give that as a side note. I know. I'm going off on a tangent, but if you guys are loyal listeners, you're used to it and you find it somewhat entertaining. Okay, let's go back to this scenario. So you want thriving business, making money, travel. You can fund kids' college funds. Maybe it's just that you want to be able to have a massage and a facial every week, which you damn well should. Then you start scrolling on social media, analyzing, dissecting, envying all these other women and men who are living a version of this life that you so badly want for yourself. And truly, you're also judging them, right? I mean, even we're going to keep it real. Okay. I've done it too, where it's like, how the hell is this bitch, who has 3 kids traveling the damn world? And how does she have a 6-pack? And she looks like this is so effortless and easy. And her husband seems to be this doting husband who has no dad bod going on whatsoever. What's up? You kind of have the judgment going on, right? You do that. We all do it. Okay. Whatever it is that we're looking for. Because we want this thing so badly. And maybe your intentions of scrolling on social media were good. You're looking for inspiration, kind of, doing some market research, which, I highly encourage, but then it quickly goes in the scroll hole. And in your soul, you are meant to do and give more in this life. But then there's something that keeps you from going for it. So you want it. You get excited, you get inspired, you guys have ideas. Maybe you've even created some things. Maybe you've even actually created an official business, an actual licensed business, which if you have a business and it's not set up properly, you need to schedule a call with me because that's going to bite you in the ass and you're not going to like it. You know why I know? Because that's what I did, of course, about 11 years ago. Thank you. I ended up owing the government some insane amount of money and I didn't have that money to give and I wouldn't have owed it if I had my business set up properly. All right. So then every day goes by, right? Day after day, week after week goes by where you are not going after this very thing that you're meant to do. And maybe you've not pinpointed this thing, but you just know inside you, I'm meant to do something more. I'm not meant to be at this job I'm in, or I'm not meant to be in this career that, maybe I work with a lot of doctors. I work with lawyers. I have a lot of clients who are accountants, people who have, spent a lot of money or a lot of their parents' money on higher education and a lot of time and sacrifice. I work with a lot of therapists as well who have put in all these time and hours and studying and all these clinical hours that are required to getting them to this career. And then they get into it and it's like, oh my God, this is brutal. I'm working my butt off and I'm pouring my heart and soul into these patients, into these people. And I'm making maybe $65,000 after taxes at most. And it's okay if that's not what you want to do anymore. And that you're meant to do something different, maybe using those skill sets or something totally different. So what? You went to school for it. You're meant to do something completely different. I went to school for broadcast journalism. Yes, I did it, right? I was a newscaster, right? I did it, but I'm not doing it now, but I am using those skills. And I can tell you right now, I make more money than 99% of TV newscasters out there. Not a Katie Couric, that top 1%. But all the others, oh, absolutely. A lot of them are my friends. So I know how much they make. So every day, week that goes by, even year that goes by, that you don't take action on your dreams, on pursuing something more, learning what that more is, it brings up more self-judgment, more self-doubt, anxiety, and even depression. This is how it shows up in your life. You might not even know for sure where it's coming from, but it's where it's coming from. When we are not living our purpose and we're not pursuing it, you don't have to even be at a spot where you're living it like I am, but you're not pursuing it, I can tell you, I'm going to cry. I can tell you it's the worst feeling. That's what actually propelled me into starting ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. It did not matter. I already had millions in the bank. It didn't matter. I was sitting on this. You guys, you know my story. I had the name for this company for 10 years. Now, it wasn't divine timing for me to start sooner. I needed to make a ton of mistakes, have a ton of wins, and do a shit ton of personal development work before I would have been ready to create this brand and to empower and guide and teach all of you in integrity and know what I know today. But truly, I could have started it several years sooner than I did. I absolutely could have, but I had all the stories that many of you had. I had excuses. So this is coming from my heart. I know how it feels. And it was robbing my soul more than anything. It didn't matter that I had money. It didn't matter I had a luxury lifestyle. It didn't matter that I was newly engaged. It didn't matter when we're not following our divine path that we were put on this earth to do. Even if you're not sure what it is, but you're not even being inquisitive and diving deeper into yourself to figure out what that is, I felt like, what the hell am I here for? Like, yeah, I have, I help all my girls who've been sex trafficked, and I donate my time and money to safe houses. I do a lot of mentoring of young girls. I love mentoring young girls, like teenage girls. I love it, and I do a lot of that for free. Yes, 25% of my speaking engagements are free. It wasn't enough. I wasn't really going for it. And what made me finally do it is because it was so painful. The pain of not going for it now was far worse than the fear of actually doing the damn thing. So I want you guys to hear that again. I'm going to ask it in a question. Is the pain of you not going and not pursuing what you are destined to do, what you're here on this earth to do, is it at a great enough point now where it is far more uncomfortable and causing you more havoc in your life and in your brain and in your body than the fear of actually ripping off the Band-Aid and doing the damn thing and risking failure, risking feel stupid, risking judgment? Is it? Because that's where I was at. And I was like, you know what? I've got to do it. I've got to do it. I cannot let another year go by and not do this. I might not even be here. I can't let another year go by. Because when you're meant to do something and you are meant to serve the people, whether it's that woman who is feeling so lost and alone and trapped in her body because she can't even recognize herself anymore after having kids. Maybe it's someone who has such money mind blocks that they don't know how to get out of their own way, and they really need to do deep mindset and personal development work. Maybe it's someone who just is exhausted all the time and has no zest for life and is feeling so lost, alone, and gross. And she has no idea that, what she's putting into her body is the problem. Maybe it's someone who hates her current job or her profession and has guilt and shame around it because maybe she went to school for it. And maybe she's been doing it a while, and maybe it's a consistent income, but she really wants something different and feels her family's going to be upset with her, or she's not sure if she can do it, and she needs someone to show her the way. So I knew it was selfish if I sat on this any longer. Sitting on your gifts is selfish because you wouldn't have them if you weren't meant to do something with them. So if you have this belief that you're stuck or blocked, I don't know why I don't know why I just can't do it. I'm stuck. I'm like almost paralyzed. And if you just knew how to overcome it, you would be golden. If you just knew how to just do it and just do it anyway, you would be golden. I get you. I get you. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. And it's simple, but often the most simple things in life are the most difficult. But it's not as hard as you think. Often we build things up in our head to be much harder, more involved, more challenging than they really are than just doing the damn thing. So what happens then is you have the goal. I just took you through the goal shame cycle. So number one, if you can relate to this, you guys, take a screenshot, share the episode, go comment on my latest post. If you can relate to this, or if you know someone who's in it, share the damn episode with them. You don't even have to say anything. Just say, I really thought of you, and I feel like this is something you need to listen to. Because this is incredibly common. Like I said, I was in it too. And now it brings up shame because you're meant for something more. Whether you know what that is or not specifically is irrelevant. And there's other people going after their dreams. You visually see it. You can watch, whether it's watching me or someone else, people are doing it. Yet you're not taking action on it. So now you're sitting in shame and self-judgment because it's like, what's wrong with me? Why the fuck can't I do this? Like, am I lazy? What's my problem? I mean, I'm one of those people who just complains, whether you're complaining to others or in your own. Complain about my current circumstance, but I'm not doing anything about it. And I can't stand people like that. And now I'm getting sick of myself, and that's still not enough for me to do it. So maybe I'm not cut out to do this whole thing or go after building my own thing because I don't have it in me. And you start down this whole path that brings up self-doubt, self-judgment, anxiety. Your inner bully is out with a giant baseball bat, and now you're in shame. Shame is the lowest vibrating emotion. I've mentioned a couple episodes ago in Gabby Bernstein's book, Super Attractor, and it's in other law of attraction, manifestation, mindset books as well, but that one's just on the top of my head, where she actually has a list. I think it's like a list of 30 or 35 different emotions and has the actual scale, the emotional scale of where those feelings vibrate. And you want to always try to, as I always say, like when I say raise your vibe, you could be in a horrible place. But I mean, even if you can raise it by 5%, at least you're trying, right? At least you're trying to raise it. And then the universe will meet you there and help you raise it further versus wallowing in it, right? Shame is at the lowest vibrating emotion. I've lived most of my life in shame. For a million different reasons. It's very common for people who have come from abusive environments. It's familiar, but living in that shame is horrible because what happens when you're in shame is nothing. Nothing grows when you're in shame. That would be like trying to grow flowers in vinegar. It's an acidic, toxic space to be in. And then nothing happens. I see this with people who, I see this with addicts I work with, whether they are sober or they're active addicts. And I mean addicts of anything, right? It could be substances like alcohol and drugs, or what I specialize in working with people who are addicted to people, places, and things, addicted to being busy, addicted to relationships, shopping, gambling, exercising, that kind of thing, eating disorders, that kind of stuff. And it's the same cycle. It's, I know I shouldn't binge eat. I know that's bad for me. And then they can hold off for a couple days, maybe even a week. And then they don't have the right tools in place or the support in place. Then they go binge eat. And then there's the shame that I just did this. I know this is bad for me. I did it anyway. I'm a piece of shit. I have no self-will. I'll never get out of this spot. Now they're in shame. Well, what do you think happens in shame? You're in shame and you're at such a low point, then you don't really care. I might as well. Oh, well, I might as well binge eat because I'm never going to change anyway. So there's an example looking at it in a different way, but this shows up with your own very dreams and goals. And then it's a slippery slope. It makes it very easy to stay in shame. And then maybe a couple weeks go by, or you listen to a podcast episode of mine, or read a post of mine, or something in my Instagram stories, or something like that. It resonates really well, hits you over the head, lights a fire under your ass. It might even be happening right now, listening to this episode. And you're like, oh my God, I totally get what Tiffany's saying. She was here. I need to get my shit together. And you get all revved up in positivity, right? The fire's going, which is great. And the fire's going, I'm going to do this. And then you start telling yourself, I'm going to Google this. I'm going to research this. I'm going to, write all this out. And you start setting yourself up for failure because you're trying to make up for lost time. So you make this crazy to-do list. I need to do this. I need to learn that. I need to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you get so overwhelmed because you've just piled all these things because you're trying to make up for lost time. And now you're trying to do an all or nothing mentality. And then maybe you do one small thing, maybe you do two, and it just is too much. And then you're overwhelmed. And now we're back to being stuck and frozen again. And now we're back into shame. I know so many of you are in that cycle. And here, you guys remember, I was in that cycle going with ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, and I already had a 7-figure successful business for 10 years. I was already an entrepreneur. It had nothing to do with that for me. It had to do with really going after and pursuing my purpose. You guys see what I'm saying? It's not the story of, I don't know how to start a business. It's not about that. It's when we're really going after the very thing we're meant to do, we pile so much stuff onto it, and then we end up in this cycle. So I want to make sure we get you out of it. And it's simple. I'm going to tell you what worked for me and what works with God knows how many clients that I've helped through this. I have coached personally over 1,500 people, one-on-one, and then tens of thousands of people, in group settings. Here's the thing. It's action, but not crazy, manic, spastic, all or nothing action. It's one action at a time. I want you to throw away those to-do lists. This is coming from a Virgo telling you this. I mean, I freaking love a good to-do list. Like, that shit gets me hot. I just want you to take one action. But that one action, I need it to be a clear action, an action that's going to move the needle, not all this other crap that filters through our brains. Like, I need to learn graphic design now. And I need to, go take 1 million professional photos, or who knows? I need to research this. I need to research that. The only thing that made me get out of this goal shame cycle is taking action to where I was working with someone else. I could not do this on my own. When I tried it on my own, it wasn't working. We often try to do things on our own, whether it's lose weight, raise our kids, do a fixer-upper project in our house, build a business. I tried to do that with my first business. I am not joking, for 5 years. I did, I think 2 years in or something, maybe even a little sooner, I did hire some contract workers, but I really was trying most all of it myself. And I was able to get to a certain point because I'm so resilient, resourceful, and I was willing to work 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. But it wasn't fun. It was exhausting. I created my own prison, and I couldn't get past a certain money marker point until I hired a coach who helped keep me accountable, who helped me see the things I couldn't see. And a lot of you could be listening going, oh, well, Tiffany is top business coach, so this is a self-serving episode. Well, any of you who know me know that that's not how I roll. you need to have some kind of accountability, whether that is you joining my ProjectME Posse group coaching membership, where you're in a intimate group environment at a price point that feels right to you right now. And it needs to be a price point that you'll actually show the fuck up. So my group coaching membership is $100 a month. That's the lowest price point to work with me, period. That might not be enough money for some of you to show up. I belong to Equinox. It's a luxury gym. I think it's up to $180 a month, maybe more. You know that more than 50% of the people who are members and they're paying $180 a month still don't show up to work out at all. Like a full year will go by. How about them apples? That's not enough money for them to show up because their target audience are people who are making probably $150,000 a year or more. And that's not enough money per month to get them to show up. I would show up anyway, whether, when I was hitting up Gold's Gym for $29.99, but it wasn't enough. So what's enough for you to show up. Money's a powerful energy, and what type of coach or people you'll show up for. So I stalk all your asses. Anyone who's inside my posse knows that. My private clients know that. So I'm watching your shit. I'm keeping you accountable. It's with love. But when someone is of high integrity and they're not going to let you get away with it with love, it helps you get out of your own way. My coach doesn't sit there and hound me. That's not his fucking job. Okay? But what he does do is when I make a commitment to him and it's something that we've worked through, and this is what I'm going to do for the month, or this is what I'm going to do for the quarter, and these are the milestones, etc. I have a commitment to someone that I highly respect, and for me to not do it, that's not cute. And I'm wasting my money and my time and his time, and that's not cool. So that is what truly helped me. Whether it's you guys applying to work with me in 2-month coaching, I've opened 90-minute single sessions. There's more times in my calendar for that right now. Or you go inside my group coaching membership, which is month to month. You can cancel at any time. I don't do some gym membership format because I don't want anyone in there who doesn't want to be there or who isn't into it. Because that's not the vibe we're about. And it doesn't have to be with me. You might have, but you'd have to pick someone very particular. I don't like the idea of you doing something for free. I love these 3 and 5 day challenges you see out there. I do think that can spark some of this, but it's not sustainable. That's why these live events, and I've been to many, like Tony Robbins, UPW, a lot of these, Bali butterfly type events. They're lovely, but I'm only ignited at the most 5 to 7 days post an event. It charges me up for that long and then it goes away. And then that just goes into this goal shame cycle again. I promised myself all these things when I was at Tony Robbins. I chanted it. I walked on fire with it. I came home. I was all pumped up. And then within 5 days, very little has happened. And what do you have to show for it? And that's because it wasn't something consistent that you could be accountable to. Here's another thing that I do for myself that you can do for yourself. I hire people to be accountable to. And I don't mean coaches. Obviously, I have coaches. I have a trainer, I have a health coach, and I have a business coach. But I'm talking about I hire people, meaning employees, contract workers. So I will hire them. I'm paying them. So I would be nuts to not give them what I need to give them that I'm paying them to do, right? So for example, my Selling with Soul course, I could have recorded all of those videos on my own with my Diva ring light, and a camera. And, saved, a couple grand, right? But instead, I knew I would keep putting off recording those videos because a lot of time and effort goes into it. I would have to clear a full day, like a full, either if I did it in one day, it'd be like a full 12-hour day I would have to clear if I wanted to do all those videos in a day. And left to my own devices, I already kind of tried that and I kept putting off doing it. So I hired a videographer and an editor to come here and shoot me live. So we had a date. I was accountable to a date. I had to pay him a 50% upfront non-refundable deposit. So I was in it for money, and it forced me to get my shit together, even though I did some of it at the 11th hour, of course. Forced me to get my shit together. So I was ready on that date because you damn well know I wasn't going to waste my money. I wasn't going to cancel or reschedule the guy because that's just, gross and embarrassing. So I hired him to keep me accountable. Yes, the videos are obviously of higher quality and they're edited beautifully because I wasn't doing it. But I didn't need to do that to have a course. I didn't have to. But if I wanted that course to be out there, that was worth every penny that I spent in order to get myself to do the damn thing. So I did also, I want to give you guys another example so you're hearing this. For my podcast, right from the start, I hired a podcast producer and I pulled my longtime coordinator, Nancy, who is mainly focused on my other business. I reconstructed her job roles to be a coordinator on the podcast, help book guests, all that stuff. And I did that because it would keep me accountable. I am now paying a producer and I am using one of my own resources and allocating her time, which is also money. And therefore, if I had to be consistent and make this podcast work, otherwise I am spending money. That would be a hardcore jobby. I would be spending money to have this show. We just edit it for sound quality, but you still have to edit the music in the front, the music at the end. It has, there's show notes. It has to be posted on all the things, right? The guests have to be booked. I would be spending, I don't know, about $80 to $100 per fucking episode if I didn't make sure this damn podcast worked and not just helped all of you, but converted into cash, right? So I knew that. Think about it, 2 episodes a week. So that's about $200 a week, 2 times 4. So it's $800 a month. That was enough for me because I don't like throwing away money. That was enough for me to go, okay, I have got to make sure I'm on top of this. I find a way as soon as possible to make sure I monetize this. Otherwise, I'm just throwing $800 a month out there just to be, talking to people. And I'm in a business. This isn't a jobby here, right? So I hope I gave you guys some ideas, but being accountable to like a friend or a, fellow boss chick, even if she's like cool and hardcore, it's not going to cut it. You've got to hire someone so that you have hard dates, you have money on the line. You've got to put skin in the game, as that saying goes. If you don't have skin in the game, it's not going to work. And it can't just be sweat equity. There has to be an actual investment on the line. And anyone who asks me to invest in their companies, anything like that, my first question is, how much of your own money have you invested? Watch Shark Tank, and they ask that. They ask that because they want to see how much this person believes in themselves and in what they're selling and in their product, and how much skin in the game. You don't have skin in the game, I'm not interested. When I go to look at which stocks to invest in or to buy more stock in, there's a reason why in public companies you get to see how much stock the CEO owns, the CFO, how much stock do a majority of the employees own? Are they selling their stock? Are they buying more? I want to see how much skin in the game the people who run the damn company have, because if they don't, they're not as tied to the results, the growth, the betterment of the company. So put some damn skin in the game, whether it's with me, which it should be, whether it's with me or someone else. Take action, put skin in the game. And yeah, it's scary. Don't think it wasn't scary for me just because I had money in the bank. It was scary for me too. I don't want to lose money. Yeah, it is scary. But you know what? If I don't do it, I don't see the return. I recently hired a systems manager. That was scary because a systems, that kind of role, it's not like it's a very obvious, tangible result where I'm like, oh, I'm spending this much a month on her and this is how much I make back. It's not as clear and cut and dry as that. So therefore, I knew I needed it to make all the automation of my business, all the tech side of my business easy to use, flowing and great and user friendly for all of you and for myself, and for everything to just be really high end and clean, clear and straightforward and simple. But it's also, I hired her because I knew if I'm going to have to pay for another person on my team inside ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, I'm going to have to bring in more revenue in order to pay for that. So it's lit an additional fire under my ass. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary to invest in someone else and know that now I have another person to feed and I need to make sure I'm bringing in enough money. But that is what gets you to do the damn thing. So I hope I inspired you guys to take action, and it's scary action. If it doesn't scare you, and if it's not like kind of a little dread or you're like, oh God, a pit in your stomach, it's not going to work. Do I need to have a personal fucking trainer? No, I do not. I have played sports my whole life. I've had a gazillion trainers. I know what I'm doing. And yeah, if you look at how much I pay them, it's a lot of fucking money. But you know what? Every single time I go and see him, it's like, you know what? I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't knowing you were here and I had that commitment to you. Number one, I wouldn't cancel because obviously I would eat that money and I don't like wasting money. And it's enough money. He's not like $50 an hour, people. It's enough money to where I know I have to show up and I don't want to lose it. Number two, it's someone I highly respect, and I think that's very rude, and I wouldn't do that. And a lot of times I don't feel like it, but it gets me to do it, and that's worth the money to me versus me not doing it. So I gave you guys a lot of examples. I want you to commit to an action you're taking, whether it is going right now to projectmewithtiffany.com/projectmeposse, projectmewithtiffany.com/projectmeposse, and join my group coaching membership where I teach you guys live classes every single week. You have access to dozens and dozens of hours of past trainings. It's the lowest price point in order to be able to work with me and ask questions at $100 a month. Maybe it's to go all in and apply to work with my exclusive 2-month business coaching. Maybe that's what you need, is to go all in on yourself. Go apply to do that. Maybe it's to book a 90-minute session with me. And maybe that's something you book for yourself once a month. I don't know what it is for you guys. Maybe it's hiring a trainer. Maybe it's hiring a nutritionist. Maybe it's hiring a videographer, or maybe it is hiring a social media manager or something like that. But if I can't make you take that action, but I can tell you if you don't, you're going to continue on this goal shame cycle over and over and over again and be in self-will and tell yourself you'll just get yourself to do it. If you haven't already done it by now on your own devices and relying on your own self and self-will, it ain't going to happen, people. We're not meant to do this alone. So stop trying to do it. Of course, this is all said with love, but I had to light a fire under your ass. And for those of you who love this episode and you want to leave a 5-star written iTunes review, go for it, and make sure you include your Instagram handle and or name inside the review. DM me, and I would love to treat you to a coffee drink of your choice or a juice of your choice. as a way to say thank you for supporting the show, sharing your love, taking the 90 seconds to write a review. And as always, wishing you guys great health, wealth, and worth. Love you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.